recap what's going on in the city of San Antonio. It's Maddy Skyeline. Yeah, it's Maddy Skyeline.
You know, we've had a lot of changes around ESPN San Antonio this week, starting Monday. You know, Rob moves to morning with Rudy J for R&R in the morning, and then Rob from noon to 2 with Carl Schoening on the show halftime. Greeny's now 10 to noon, and Kellerman is on 2 to 4. You know, a lot of changes, but a lot of things stay the same, like every Wednesday at 4:30. Maddy Skye from the San Antonio Express News joins us for Maddy Skyeline here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. You know, because if we're going to change our name to Stars, we just got to have the brightest ones join us every Wednesday at 4:30, right, Maddy?
Right. I guess it kind of works too now with Sky and Star. You got a whole theme going on.
Well, that, or do we change it to Maddy Starline? No, that wouldn't work. Star, yeah, I don't know. But speaking of stars, no, definitely not your name. No, not. Yeah, you know, it is interesting because you wrote an incredible piece today that I'm into this stuff, but I'm not into this. But over the weekend, I was in Los Angeles and I went to the Griffin Observatory, and you know, if you've ever been up there, I mean, it's an observatory. We went during the day, so it's not like I was, you know, doing all the extras to, you know, look at all the planets from far away. But it's a fascinating spot. It was much more interesting than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was just going to be great views of Los Angeles and as close as you can get to the Hollywood sign legally, right? So, but we're going to have a total eclipse in San Antonio 3 years from now. We got to start planning today.
Yeah, you got to start planning today because if you think about like museum activation or programming, schools, you know, got to get all of those timelines in order. And the expert that I was speaking to yesterday, Angela Speck, she said that she was part of the University of Missouri in 2017. Do you remember how the 2017 one kind of went right across the U.S., but it largely missed San Antonio, so only got like a partial experience. But back in Missouri, I don't know if you remember, people were like traveling to go see it. And so she was in the perfect place at that point. And she said they started planning 5 years in advance. I guess because it has such a big tourism boom, or I don't know, or, you know, the museums get together and, like I said, have programming centered around the eclipse. People are already selling like souvenirs for it, just the way they were in 2017 with the glasses and the T-shirts. And I spoke to astrologers and one astrologer in Ohio, and then 2 astronomers and a geographer who does all the mapping, and they all say the same thing, that San Antonio or even Texas as a whole is going to be this big pool for travel, like eclipse tourism, because people who see it once want to see it again. I know that we didn't really get a good feel for it when we saw in 2017 because it wasn't the full experience, but supposedly, and what I've read online and from what I've heard from all these different people, is that it's like this miraculous event because the sky goes dark for up to 4 minutes. I think we're going to get around 3 minutes, and the further north you go, like Kerrville, Fredericksburg, Bernie, they're going to get like almost a full, I think, 3 minutes. And it'll just go completely dark. The animals respond, the plants, the insects, everybody responds. So
I've got a friend who has traveled before for these events, and he talks about the cosmic experience that it is. And so when I'm reading this, I get that. Like, get your house on Airbnb now because you could make a lot of money because people come out in droves for this very few minute event, although you don't have to go anywhere for it. I mean, stand in your driveway, stand in, you know, now there are places you can go that will give you the best viewing, I suppose, but we're going to have total darkness in the middle of the day is essentially what it is, right?
So the weird thing about us, we're such in a weird position because unlike like our outlier cities, like the Hill Country, the whole scope of their towns will be completely covered. But if you look at the map, I tweeted a map that one of the Great American Eclipse founders gave me, and the map is so crazy because they have it precisely mapped out. And she said it's crazy because he shows me the map after I spoke with Angela Speck. Angela Speck said, you know, downtown will miss it by a couple of blocks. And if you look at the map, sure enough, it goes like right past downtown. So I'm sure it'll be pretty shadowy and dark. But if you want to get the total maximum point of totality, I think it's called, I've become an eclipse expert in the past 24 hours. You got to go like just up to UTSA area.
I'm trying to become a total eclipse expert in about 5 minutes, but I got to admit, the map on mysa.com, I don't know what I'm looking at.
Look at the one that I tweeted. Look at the one that I tweeted. I mean, it's a
Okay.
map, and it shows the path. It's the path of where the eclipse is going to hit. And if I'm reading it correctly, I think it shows you too how long you will see total darkness.
It is an incredible thing, and I think about the fact that we know this is happening in 3 years, and we are going to celebrate and count down and the tourism and all this, and then I look at it and I go, well, Bezos just went to space yesterday for 11 minutes. 11 minutes, and you realize, all right, for 11 minutes, that's pretty damn cool. But still, for 11 minutes, everything that goes into that, for 11 minutes, everything that goes into this for just a couple of minutes, sometimes you wonder,
Right.
does that make sense?
Well, I think it goes back. I think it's probably easier to track as the years go by and as we get these eclipses, because it's like part of timeanddate.com, and they have these records that go back to 1900. And so the closest San Antonio has ever been to a path like this was, I think, May 28th, 1900. And even at that, it was like a partial experience because it hit more South Texas. So they've been keeping track of these for centuries and generations. So I guess as time goes on, it becomes much easier. And I think the next time there is a total solar eclipse will be in 2026, but that's going to be in Spain and like Greenland. The next time it's in the U.S. after 2024 is going to be 2044. But you'll need to be up by like Montana. So this is a pretty rare occasion. And what makes it even another occasion of it, another layer of being rare, is that we're going to have the annular eclipse in October, which isn't, as special. And then 6 months later, we'll have the total solar eclipse. I keep getting those messed up. And so that 6 month gap is pretty rare to in itself.
Maddy Skye joining us here on the Blitz on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. She is a solar eclipse expert. She is also a cold drink expert. Fat Tuesday's coming back.
Fat Tuesday. So that's the thing. I didn't know that we had it before. I wasn't of drinking age back in 2001. So it's a comeback story. Yeah, Fat Tuesday is going to open again in San Antonio. So if you're familiar with the Las Vegas drinks or New Orleans drinks, we're going to have those in San Antonio. Those yard stick size ones.
Absolutely. What I found interesting is this isn't a Riverwalk restaurant, or at least right now it's not.
Yeah, as far as we know, the first location that I have is Bandera Road, which I thought was interesting. Like you said, you would think that it'd be on the Riverwalk, like the original one in the 2000s, or somewhere near the Rim or La Quintera, but no, Bandera Road. So I guess I don't know what you do up in Bandera Road that would require yardstick size drinks, but I'm sure a lot of people will be quick to tell us.
Well, again,
high traffic area.
Another place to go, but again, more business coming to San Antonio, which is always a good thing. And you wrote a feel-good story. Before we let you go, I want to talk about this guy that bought season tickets for the San Antonio Spurs with zero intention of actually going to a game himself. He is donating every one of these tickets.
Yep, all 44 games are going to go to kids that he thinks need the opportunity to be up close to the Spurs work ethic and be exposed to seeing their role models in person. He says, his name's Eric Salinas, by the way, and he says that growing up in the 80s, he didn't always have those opportunities. And when he finally got to go to a game in 91 at Hemisphere Arena, it was just like inspiring and kind of kickstarted everything that he wanted to do in life. And so he wants to expose other San Antonio kids to that opportunity. So he's working with different communities and groups to figure out kids that most need to use these tickets. And he pays for them. The Spurs are chipping in to make sure these kids have Spurs gear at all of the games and have early access to the warm-ups. That way they can be, up close with these players. So really cool for a family to do.
Awesome. Very awesome of him. And of course, for the Spurs and their Silver and Black Give Back promotion to add even a little bit more to it. Just a very awesome deal. I just wish those kids were going to see better basketball. But they're not going to care. It's one of those things. Maddy Skye from the San Antonio Express News. Maybe next week, I don't know. We'll see. We'll be in Oxnard at Cowboys camp. So maybe we'll see you next week, if not in two. But always appreciate the time.
Of course. See all these later.
Maddy Skye from the San Antonio Express News, as she joins us every Wednesday here on the Blitz.